welcome you to the second semifinal here at Major League Table Tennis's Championship Weekend as we cap the second season here in America's first pro table tennis league. I'm your host, Evan Lepler. Elite players from all around the world have competed in MLTT's team-based format since last September. Now the best four squads descend upon Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for their shot at the hallowed MLTT Cup, their claim to MLTT's $50,000 prize pool, and their spot in American professional sports history. After sharing the Season 2 Men's MVP honor, Bay Area Blasters sensation Taeyoon Kim and Carolina Gold Rush star Satoshi Ida will start this semifinal showdown against each other. Then, other teammates will jump in the fray for 3 more singles matches and a doubles match. We'll tally the scores from every event before MLTT's grand finale, the Golden Game. An all-out full squad sprint to 21 points that will dictate who advances to the title match. The winner joins the Texas Smash in the MLTT Finals. I'm joined on the call by former New Zealand national champ Matt Hetherington and U.S. Table Tennis Hall of Famer, the Olympian Sean O'Neill. Now let's join a sold-out crowd at St. Joe's University for MLTT Championship Weekend. Winner faces his Texas Smash in the second ever MLTT title tilt. These two guys will be forever linked for what they did in November in Florida when Taeyoon Kim became the first player in MLTT history to go 9-0 in a weekend in singles games, and then later that afternoon Satoshi Ida matched him. They were the first two to do it. Nobody did in Season 1. And Kim, of course, did it again with his performance in Lawrenceville, New Jersey to help the Blasters punch their ticket to championship weekend. And came off to a shaky start as Ida leaps in front 4-zip.
Ida just really dominant on the placement. We have a righty-lefty matchup here, so you'd always want to keep an eye on shots out to the wide forehand for either side. That time Kim finally gets on the board with his inside-out forehand. But so far it's been Ida just mixing it up. It's what we've grown accustomed to seeing him. Some games he's an offensive player, other games he's a chopper. Some points he's doing a little bit of both.
These two guys have not played against each other yet in MLTT in a singles match. Or in a Golden Game for that matter. Ida enters championship weekend number 1 in the MLTT power rankings, Kim number 2.
Matt, you mentioned earlier about the footwork of Kim, just really being able to pick and choose where he's going to deliver that forehand blast from, whether it's his backhand corner or out wide. He can cover the entire court.
Yeah, I think honestly the playing style of Kim really forces Ida to play offensively. I think he needs to meet him at that level. I think if Ida plays too much defense, he's going to end up in a more difficult position.
He's not played too much defense so far.
No,
he has been aggressive.
Yeah, and it's made Kim look a little flat-footed because all these shots out to his forehand.
Salvages a way to win that point, gets back within 4. I do think it's worth mentioning in terms of the MVP conversation, like, at least for me, when I was thinking about my MVP vote, which I was fortunate to have, as were the two of you,
along with the coaches. I didn't think about, all right, who would win if Ida and Kim faced each other. That wasn't really part of the conversation. It's what have they done and what have they meant to their teams. I felt like, Carolina probably still makes the playoffs without Satoshi Ida. No way would the Blasters have made the playoffs without Taeyoon Kim. The role that he took and the responsibility he had to produce week in, week out.
Wow. I guess that's a double wow.
It's a double wow, but he's still got a 5-point deficit and an Ida game point to contend with. And that game goes to Satoshi Ida as the Carolina Gold Rush, who finished atop the East Division for the second year in a row. They were eliminated last year in the semis against Texas. They are looking to get another shot at the smash at championship weekend, and they've got a 1-0 lead on the back of their MVP.
Satoshi Ida struck first in this battle of men's co-MVPs. Let's see how Taeyoon Kim responds as we take the table for the second game of this thrilling showdown.
But I think I've made it up with MLTT with the minor league. So
you're saying you can't handle the double burden of
minor
league table tennis and
they
fantasy?
just relegated me to minor league. I used to be a major leaguer,
Maybe
but
they
now
do fantasy league in the minor leagues.
I vote against me.
11-5 to Ida in game 1, and now a 2-0 start in game 2. What's going on?
Just think, Ida is dictating the action. He's choosing, especially off of his backhand side, to play that ball out to the forehand, neutralizing Kim's footwork and giving Kim nothing to work with. We've seen Kim make a couple beautiful down the line shots, especially off the serve, but Kim needs to figure out exactly what style of opponent he's playing against, because right now Ida has been mixing it up really nicely.
I think one thing that we didn't really consider maybe when we were looking at the matchup, Satoshi Ida has probably played numerous high-level Japanese players that are left-handed, quick, great footwork, forehand-oriented. So I'm sure tactically he's probably quite well equipped to, lock down some of those strengths.
Just the block right here, you see just up at the table, Kim surprised how fast he came back, but more importantly, right to the middle.
It's really an interesting season for Ida, who was the 5th pick in the 2024 MLTT draft. He was taken 1 spot ahead of Taeyoon Kim, who was drafted 6th overall. Ida got off to a really slow start. He went 2-7 in singles games his very first weekend, then went 9-0 and 6-3, back-to-back weekends, Broward and Pleasanton, early November and mid-November. And we didn't see him again until the end of February, beginning of March. He missed the second Pleasanton weekend, and the second half of the season, he won 9 singles games, he lost 9 singles games. I mean, he wasn't dominant by any means. Yet, he continued to dominate in the Golden Game. We could argue about the reason why, but it felt like he kept getting favorable matchups.
Right.
Now, there aren't many unfavorable matchups for Ida, but a lot of cross-gender matchups where he had huge advantages, and he largely got the job done. I think a big reason why he ended up being the co-MVP was because of his Golden Game point percentage being number 1 in the league. I'm not sure if his singles record of 26-19 really compares well to Kim's 31-14. But you factor in the Golden Game. That's why some folks thought he was worthy For the record, I had Kim #1 on my ballot, Ida #2. Y'all are welcome to share or welcome to keep it to yourself.
I had actually Ida first, but I had Pitchford second. I thought that in fact, he didn't lose any games, any matches throughout the season, although he didn't have the most games won and no matches lost.
I do feel like even though there are a lot of objective categories to focus on, it still did seem very subjective. You know, you went around and talked to a lot of the coaches. They had very different ideas about what they thought was more important or what they put more emphasis on when they were making their decisions. So that was pretty interesting to hear from some of them as well.
And the goal isn't to win singles matches. The goal is to get as many points for your team as you can. And I would argue Pitchford was the second most valuable guy on his last place team, but that's an argument we can have later tonight.
And Pitchford also played much more doubles than these guys.
8-7.
And there's a fan.
Okay, here #1. Well, it's actually co-#1, so. Actually, you can see that Kim started to slow things down a little bit.
Yeah, he's gradually seized control here in game 2.
Establishing that first offensive attack and moving it around really nicely.
We've seen this at times this season from Tae-Yoon Kim. It can take him a little while to work his way into a match, but once he does, once he gets the rhythm of his opponent, you see him click into a different gear.
I mean, if he can get to the point in a rally like we saw in the point before, where Ida plays even one backhand shot, he should be able to take control.
That miss snapped a 5-0 run. He was down 7-5 and gone up 10-7. Now he's got the serve and a chance to tie this match up at a game apiece. Not over yet.
9.
Kim to win. I think the odds of Ida winning game 3 go up a lot if he's able to take game 2. So.
Tae-Yoon Kim does get to 11. And the battle between co-MVPs, as many would have predicted, very close, very tightly contested, and the outcome remains in doubt as we head to game 3, one game apiece.
Bay Area holds the lead after that epic Kim-Ida clash. Now joining us on the call at the end of the second singles match, it's Philadelphia 76ers executive and table tennis fanatic, the one and only Daryl Morey. With a score now knotted at 2-2, let's see which woman gets the edge. Rising Blaster star Keith Cruz or Carolina's Season 1 female MVP, Hong Lin.
I love the innovations Major League Table Tennis has made with the golden points and then the golden game. These are the kinds of things that are going to keep the league growing as well.
So there's a controversial move being done for Season 2. I don't know if you're aware, or Season 3, excuse me. As you know, in doubles, you got to serve cross court. Flint Lane is creating open serve doubles. So
well,
you no
I'm
longer
totally for it. I love the innovations. It would hurt me because I can only.
But it would allow you to serve anywhere, right? So that forehand cross-court serve, you can now serve it from your backhand corner.
Ah, there you go.
And you have the whole table
I just
to
need
go
a good
through.
coach like Sean O'Neill.
Or you just get a lefty. Get a lefty to help.
All I
cover.
can do now against good players is do it as short as dang possible so they cannot crush it straight off the serve. So
I think Sean has told me that Rick Carlisle also plays.
Rick's good. Rick and I were pretty even. I believe he passed me. He was a little more dedicated to the game. Rich Cho, who's been in the league for years, he and I went against each other in Vegas quite a bit, a big tournament that's there every year, and I beat him once, but he got the better of me most of the time. So yeah, there's a good tradition in the NBA. The level here is so crazy high.
Especially the women who tend to play with so much more speed and tempo. Once that ball gets going, most of the male players don't have enough time to take a full backswing. Hong Lin.
Where do you think the level will go to next year? It took such a big leap from 1 to 2.
Yeah, I think in what we saw in the draft from season 1 to 2 is half the players exited out, so it just shoved everyone up. And I'm going to guess that we're going to be probably at about a 20-30% of new players, which doesn't bode well if you're low in the league. But it's like you've got to be able to play at the international level in order to compete in MLTT. It's just gotten so strong.
I've studied a lot of league structures at the MIT analytics conference that we run every year, and it's really the leagues with the best players that win over time, much more than homegrown necessarily. So I know there's homegrown rules almost always early in the leagues, but as the league improves, everyone's fine. Everyone's good with Giannis Antetokounmpo being one of the best players in the league, or Joel Embiid, or Luka Doncic. They want to see the best, and that's what Major League Table Tennis is doing.
I think, Darryl, what you mentioned about the international flavor of the sport, to have national champions come, whether it's from Romania, whether it's from the Philippines in this match, it just increases the fan base because everyone wants to follow their national heroes.
You can see in the crowd now flags for their home countries, different players on different teams.
That's super interesting about studying different leagues around the world, and
well, Major League Table Tennis has really nailed something that most leagues don't do well, which is they often structure their tournaments in ways that the players like. And the players will structure tournaments for whoever the better player wins because they like skill to rise to the top. Which makes intuitive sense. Fans want drama. Fans want close matches. Fans want golden points. Fans want win or the NCAA tournament is every game is win or go home. The closer you can get to that, the more fans want to watch.
Have you been to I know you've watched, but have you been to an MLTT event, or is this the first time for you?
This has unfortunately been my first time. They do come at a tough time for my regular job, but I'm excited to be here at the championship.
Yeah. What was it like for you?
I watch a lot on YouTube.
What was it like for you watching that first Golden game earlier tonight?
That was incredible. I just think that's such a genius format. It provides a comeback. One of the issues the NBA has is that if there's a big lead, it can become a very rough ending of the game.
Garbage time.
Yeah, so I think they've looked at different solutions there. One's called a target score ending.
Yeah.
I've thrown out more ridiculous rules like a half-court shot cuts the lead in half. Like you need mechanisms for teams to come back that aren't unfair to the team that have built the lead.
Yeah, you want to get past any of those mercy rules, right, where it's just such a blowout that it's like, do we want to continue watching this?
Exactly, and I've seen on YouTube, this is my first live event, teams come down from 5-0 in the Golden game. I mean, that's a pretty big edge that you built up and deserve, but you still have this chance to come back, which is really great for the fans.
Well, it's been Hong Lin's day. She was certainly favored coming into this match, Sean, but she has taken care of business. Keith Crew's not done yet.
Hong Lin has just been so dependable for the Gold Rush all season long here in 2, but also in season 1 as the MVP on the women's side.
Okay. It's always hard to get that final. Sean knows better than I do, but did you ever have a big lead that you were trying to just put it away, Sean?
Yeah, normally the tendency is to be safe and let the opponent potentially miss, but I always found that going for the shot at the end is the way to get it done.
Daryl Morey, thanks so much for
having
joining
me on.
us.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for your support of MLTT.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Hong Lin dominates Keith Cruz and puts the Gold Rush in front 4-2. Doubles coming up next.
As we move ahead in the action, Carolina now commands a 5-2 lead and the momentum in doubles. The Gold Rush twosome of Enzo Angles and Sid Naresh defeated Taeyoon Kim and Tao Wen Zhang in Game 1. But Game 2's now about to begin.
Nicely done from Enzo.
Great combination there by the Gold Rush.
That's strong stuff from Angles. We know he's a gamer. Even when his team struggled at championship weekend last year, Enzo still really had some huge performances. If you remember, the Gold Rush were down 8-4 when he took the table for singles against Kasahara in the semis last year, and Enzo had 3 hard-fought victories in a row against really locked in Kasahara to make it 8-7 when it looked like it could be super lopsided. Now, the Golden game obviously did not go Carolina's way, but Angles showed his mettle.
Good play by Sid.
Yeah, nice calm backing.
Just getting in there. You can see Enzo giving him advice what to do after the shot. Doubles isn't just a matter of hitting the ball. You've got to get out of your partner's way and not play into the opponent's strength.
Sean, for a guy like Kim, you know, you learned yesterday he was the co-MVP. Takes down Ida in an emotional first singles match. And now he's back on the table playing doubles with a guy who's been his teammate all year long, but they haven't really played a whole lot of doubles together under the bright lights. I mean, not the easiest thing for Kim to rediscover the same fire that he had for the singles match about an hour ago.
Yeah, but I think somebody at his level, he's accustomed to playing back-to-back matches. And remember, these are 3-game matches where often he'll play the best of 5, best of 7. And physically, he is so strong. It's just really the mental challenge of the dynamics of MLTT, where every point seems to count for that much more. I have so much respect for Kim, and if you look at him as he's getting, his legs are so strong. You know how many hours and hours of footwork drills he's done to get the legs that allow him to play his forehand. And not only the forehand, look at the backhand.
I did ask him how frequently he goes to the gym, and he said it would be easy to count the number of days he didn't go to the gym than the other way around. So I think
I would say the
5
same
times a
thing.
week.
It's just because I can count really high.
Again, Kim bringing not only the great forehand, but he's seen against Ida. Check out this backhand coming here. Body blow, hitting the opponent with the ball. That's no controlled backhand. That's a winner.
Stop. Service clock. Warning for both sides. Carolina, go
Both sides.
Bemused looks back at the umpire and kind of a shrug that it's not worth arguing. Let's just keep playing.
Sid's parents, we knew they would be here,
Yeah.
cheering on both sons.
They can guarantee themselves a championship
Trophy.
as Carolina wins tonight.
It's like the Stanley Cup. They just requested for the dining room table. in the off season.
7-all here in game 2. Very different flavor to this game than game 1 where Carolina ran away with it.
7-8.
I feel like Sid has done a nice job not trying to do too much, playing within himself. Just those calm backhand flips have worked out. Timeout Blasters here, trailing 8-7.
Better be serve flat. Okay, backspin. Okay, flat backspin.
他跟我别急，别劲儿，不要抢那个点，放慢一点，来把它防过去，稍微往前一点点。
Yeah. Okay, now flat backspin, right? If he comes with banana, for sure it's spin, right? Not fast, right? You have to make sure that you're ready for it. A lot of side spin, yeah.
So
Okay.
I think he'll come back and play it again.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think he'll only do backhand if you're gonna rip or you're gonna
Spin. With confidence, huh?
save some half long.
Kim's got one serve here with his Blasters trailing by 1 here in game 2 of the doubles. Trailing 5-2 overall, and there's a missed hit backhand from Sid Narek. 8-all. Enzo can't believe his paddle betrayed him there.
A lot of really good short play in this game.
Sid opting to serve with the forehand this time.
Not very typical for Sid.
He's been, in the last 2 weeks, doing a lot of backhand serves.
Big third ball here from Angles. 9-all, the serve back. Tao and Zhang.
Wow, Sid with a deep ball into the backhand corner. Tao and Zhang did not get around that ball. You can see him taking a swat with his racket afterwards, and another game point to Carolina.
I had a feeling Enzo was going to go for it, but he did not get what he wanted.
Caught the edge of the paddle, but he had the open court.
First golden point in this nightcap semifinal. Will it be 6-2 gold rush, or will the Blasters get back within 2? Sid Narek brings the thunder. Carolina takes it. Dad's fired up. That's got to feel really good.
Currently, Carolina's in control, leading the Bay Area 9-3, heading into the semifinals last singles match. Now at the table, another former Gold Rush MVP, Enzo Angles, and the Blasters, Jinbao Ma. Can the Bay Area bounce back before the Golden Game?
You know, Enzo is fully aware of what Ma Jinbao is capable of doing in a match if he brings his A game to the table. So it's Enzo's job to shut down that possibility right from the very beginning. I do wonder kind of what demeanor Ma Jinbao will have. You know, the bench is kind of looking a little bit deflated. Obviously, they're not in a great position. Just wondering if he approaches it with that sense of, I can get us back into this, or whether in the back of his mind he's kind of like, well, can I really make a difference here, or are we in a too difficult a situation?
The Blasters have come from behind to win the Golden Game twice in season 2.
Talk about a positional winner here. Enzo steps up and just completely finds the open court with a backhand block, similar to Damian Provost, who we've seen have walked into some winners.
This from Ma Jindal has to be aggressive, and we do tend to see him playing softer a lot in a lot of matches, but I think he has to really bring a bit more firepower in this match.
One thing about Enzo Angles, though, he did not finish the regular season strong. He's actually lost his last 5 singles matches to Pishte, Kumar, Hodai, Wei Wong, and Liam Pitchford. Last win in a singles match was back on February 28th in Charlotte when he beat Toyo Kanemitsu in that memorable match that was 11-10, 11-9, 11-9. Enzo had a much stronger first half of the season than he did the second half, that's for sure.
Unlucky break there for Angles.
He still won more games than he lost, but in the 18 singles matches he played, he only took 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 8 times. He lost more matches than he won in season 2, which is surprising because he won more games than he lost.
I think in this situation, for Enzo with a 9-3 lead, it would be in his best interest to be overly aggressive, knowing going into the Golden Game, he's going to want to have offense. You're not going to win the Golden Game ever by playing defense. You have to go for your shots.
Right.
You got some games to play with, and so far he has been quite offensive. It's so difficult to take the offense away from Jinbo Ma. He's just a forehand looping machine. That's the second time.
Beautifully done.
We've seen Enzo just find out wide cross court.
Yeah, I think a lot of players, when they come up against Jindal, if he's not playing really solid on the forehand, they're okay playing at the mid-distance and just pressing back in. But also, you talked about momentum going into the Golden Game. It's also important for him to connect with the bench. The bench are all out here. You want your team to come into the Golden Game strong, and having them up on their feet and cheering and the adrenaline flowing, definitely different to if you're not doing well in the match and the bench is kind of sitting there stagnant.
Jinbo Ma is who he is, and it's not his style to be shouting after every single point.
But winning points will still get his bench energized.
I think, Matt, to your point, just look what Sid has meant to Carolina when he's out there counterattacking great shots. It just sends that next player out onto the court feeling like, I want to do some of that. So Enzo right now has a chance to really, and there's a nice forehand aggressive shot that Coach Alex on his feet right now. If there was ever a time to put pressure on the opponent, it's when you have a lead.
Big fist pump from Angles. It's now 10-3 Carolina. It will be at least A 5-point lead for the Gold Rush heading into the Golden Game. And that lead could grow by 2 or 4 points as this Angles Ma match continues.
It's almost time for the Golden Game, but how does this grand finale work? Teams score 1 point for each victory to 11 that you've seen so far today. After a dominant showing from Enzo Angles, the Gold Rush lead the Bay Area Blasters 11-4. They'll carry that 7-point differential into this pressure-packed conclusion and start with a 7-0 lead. Speaking of pressure, both coaches handpick 5 players who will rotate in for multiples of 4 points each. Men versus women, Olympians versus Olympians, superstars versus substitutes, all with the stakes at their highest. The first team to 21 points, they'll join the Texas Smash in the MLTT Finals and be 1 step closer to the MLTT Cup and table tennis history. So let's join the action with 2 veteran players, Bay Area's Tao Wen-jong and Carolina's Roman Lawrence at the table first. Buckle up, everybody. This is the Golden Game.
Tao Wen-jong, though, gets the first point for the Blasters at 7-1.
One and done. Now we have the 2 big guns coming out. We saw them playing singles.
Ida #1 in the league during the regular season in Golden Game percentage, but became a different type of matchup.
Oh, a serve that popped up, but it didn't matter, as Ida said. Check out my cross-court backhand.
Split the first 2 points on Ida's serve.
Good service location. Ida not really getting his feet underneath him to start chopping.
A huge point for Satoshi Ida and Carolina.
He'll take that trade.
To go from 7-0 to 8-4 would have felt,
Yeah.
you know, like things were very much up in the air.
Troublesome.
Huge difference between 9-3 and 8-4 in terms of when you look at the scoreboard. What do your emotions say? Enzo serving to Jinbao. These 2 guys picking up where they left off with the fireworks.
And you can see the expression on Enzo's face as he is able to get his forehand into play.
In 3.
Ma splits the points on Enzo's serve. To get the Blasters within 4, he wins this one. Angles for the answer.
Go for it mentality there by Angles. Look at this backhand.
Have you ever known Enzo not to bring that mentality to the table?
That was a statement.
Yeah.
So it's a split for Angles and Ma, just like Ida and Kim. And now Lee versus Cruz. Keith Cruz smacks a forehand winner.
Edward Lee wanted to serve deep to back up his opponent. Keith Cruz just jumped on top of that serve.
Cruz taking 2 of the first 3 against Edward Lee.
I know who the audience is going for.
Oh, an opportunity there.
Just rushed that last smash. Cruz had the ball on her paddle.
We're back for the thrilling conclusion of this semifinal match in front of a sellout crowd at St. Joseph's University. The winners moving on to the MLTT Championship.
Machine's been one of the best players in the league in Golden Games all season long.
He knows he needs to put extra spin on all of his shots to deal with Honglin's flat, smashing forehand.
What did Honglin put on this serve?
Gravy.
2 straight for Honglin. And Carolina is closing in. Machine gets the split. That's 4 consecutive 2-2 splits after Tao Wen-Zhang took the opening single point after the Blasters began with a 7-0 deficit. Now 4 points here, Lorenz versus Wen-Zhang. Tao with an excellent return down the line.
Brings them within 5.
And someone for the Blasters needs to come up with a golden sweep. They might need 2 of them. Running out of time. Roman Lorenz, welcome to championship weekend. Key member of the Gold Rush throughout season 1. Had a much more muted role in season 2, but he's a gamer. Missed that forehand though, and Tao will have another opportunity to get the Blasters within 4. They haven't been able to get within 4 yet though. They're not going to do it here either. Another 2-2 split takes us to 17-11. The co-MVPs back to the table together for 4 more points. Ida serving to Kim. That's nicely done by Satoshi Ida.
Just quality forehand attacks by Ida. We haven't really seen him be much of a chopper today.
Taeyun Kim's got to have these next 3. He's not going to get them all. Ida gets it done on his serve, and now Satoshi's within range of perhaps finishing the night. Three straight for Ida, and it's almost good night for the Blasters. Returns it into the net, but 3 out of 4 for Ida makes it 20-12. And now Jim Bao-Ma takes the table in a precarious position, needing a golden sweep against Enzo Angles to try to keep his team alive. Carolina can clinch it here. It's over! The Carolina Gold Rush are moving on to the MLTT Championship match, where they will face the Texas Smash here in Philly tomorrow afternoon.
Ultimately, Carolina cruised past the Blasters in the semifinal showdown to earn the right to face Texas in the championship match. Learn more about MLTT, including our plans for Season 3, by visiting MLTT.com and following the league on social media. For our entire crew and my broadcast partners, Matt Hetherington and Sean O'Neill, I'm Evan Lepler. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the table again soon.